Hello and welcome to The Week That Was, a weekly news recap highlighting news that matter and breaking down the big story of the week. And this week's big story is... Joining me is my co-host Esther Verma, Chief Operating Officer of Nagaland News Network. She has an experience of 15 years plus in journalism with print and electronic media. Her expertise and passion lies in reporting, where she has interviewed heads of state, top officials, and various important people in different capacities. So Esther, straight off the bat, let's break this down into a few components because there are different aspects to this discussion that we're going to have. Why don't we start with the meet in general, the Mammoth Meat that was convened by the government?
So as we all know, everyone must be aware also that it happened on September 1st.
Right.
It was a very important, very crucial meet that happened with the government of Nagaland, which included the chief minister and also the chief secretary and also the advocate general for Nagaland.
Right.
And he was also present there. And so this meeting was mainly to discuss the three topics, which is the Uniform Civil Code, the Forest Amendment Act, as well as the most important ULB elections.
The 33% women, yes.
Especially in regard to the 33%.
Right.
So that was what was discussed there that day.
So this was a big meeting, like you just mentioned. And can you mention the other people that were involved? The public
tribal,
organizations? Yes.
definitely tribal HOHOs, CSOs, civil society organizations, and different tribes from different places. I mean, and then the CNTC,
the ENPO.
The ENPO, basically almost all
stakeholders.
Yeah.
The three main agendas that were discussed, like you just mentioned, the Uniform Civil Code, the Forest Amendment Act, and the 33% women reservation for the ULB elections, right? So let's start with the Uniform Civil Code and the Forest Amendment Act, because I think, according to reports, we know that these are pretty much straightforward.
Yeah.
But with the repercussions that it would have had, I'm talking about the Uniform Civil Code. Let's start with that. The repercussions that it would have had in a state like ours, with our unique customary laws and also the provisions under our Article 371A. I think it was a no-brainer from the beginning. The state government, the public, I think we're all in favor of not having this act go through. You want to share anything on this?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a no-brainer, and this Uniform Civil Code, the government led by the chief minister, deputy chief minister, they went to the center to meet the home ministry, and then they discussed it. And I think the center also is actually being very open, and to listen to what it means to have the UCC imposed or implemented in Nagaland.
Right.
So I think they were very fair also in that way. And then they know that we are protected, obviously, by Article 371A, which is obviously, if Uniform Civil Code, the word itself, says it all in regard to land, marriage, religion.
So many things.
So many things that our state really goes by from the grassroots.
And it's not just our state in particular. I think we've seen many states oppose this or reject, try and not let this act go through, right?
Yeah, and especially the center has also made it clear to the government that tribal states and Christian states will be exempted from this Uniform Civil Code. So that's just about it, and then that should be done and dusted now.
Right. So basically, it was a consensus on that issue that they were against the act, right? And so, like we said, it's a no-brainer. I don't think we need to dwell on this too much. Safe to say that, UCC won't be imposed. Let's move on to the Forest Amendment Act. Now, this act was also pretty much straightforward in the sense that it got a consensus that everyone, according to reports, everyone at that meeting was against, this act. But not so straightforward, as in the beginning, the initial stages, there were reports where the government was sort of, trying to push this act.
Yeah.
It is clearly reported that they were open to discussion. It's not like they were trying to push this through, bulldoze this act through, but they were open to discussions. And obviously, with following, all the noise made by civil society organizations and tribal bodies, I think we've reached to where we're at. Can you just highlight some of the if there were any other issues related to this.
So I think during the discussion, during the meeting,
Right.
on the consultative meeting on the 1st, the spokesperson for the government of Nagaland, as well as the Minister of Power, he's the Minister of Power, KG Kenye, has said, I think he echoed Chief Minister's words as well, according to reports, if I'm not mistaken, about the 95% of forest land belongs to the people,
Right.
and only 5% belongs to the government of Nagaland. And we are an agrarian state, first of all, and the land is their livelihood. Now, we cannot have privatization of such lands coming in from outside and, like you said, bulldozing the act and bulldozing the land.
Land as well, right? Yeah.
You know, so I think that is what it was. And I think the government has yet to have 100% decision to make on it, I feel, according to how our chief minister was going by it with the government and how the people were opposing. So it will be tabled in the next 2 days, September 11th.
Yeah. The upcoming assembly session.
So hopefully, the voices of the people will be heard and considered in this regard.
Yeah, by the way it was going, I mean, the way I saw it was that the government just sent out feelers first and just test the waters, and the response from all quarters of society was that we are against this act.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, as it stands right now, this act will also be opposed.
Yeah.
But we are, I mean, that we'll finally get to know.
Like
after it
the
happens.
UCC is 110%
Right.
definitely not going to be implemented, but the FCA, it has its still.
Right. So we're yet to get the final confirmation on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were the two issues that we've just skimmed through, because these are big issues, but the fact that it was pretty straightforward, there was really not much to report on it. Maybe if it had gone another way, the decisions, maybe then we'd have a lot of talking points. But I think the third one, which also saw a consensus, like, everyone was on board with the 33% women reservation in ULB elections. But this has history, right? And this is a sensitive one also.
Okay.
So can you just shed some light on like how this developed?
Yeah, so I think during this throughout the years, it's going to be almost 2 decades that the ULB is going to take place, hopefully. That's what they had discussed, that they had reached a consensus with the tribal ho-hos and organizations. Now, all along these 2 decades, the tribal ho-hos and CSOs were against the 33% reservation for women. But now they've reached a consensus, and it was a breakthrough, I would say, because a lot has happened in regard to the ULBs in the state, where government houses were burned, where 2 people lost their lives, and when there were riots, we would say, So
just to cut in right now, we know that of the tragic incidents of the past in 2017, and right now there seems to be, I mean, according to reports, there is a consensus that 33% reservation for women in ULB elections, basically a green light for that. But obviously pending the bill to be tabled in the upcoming assembly session. But we are on skating on thin ice, so to speak. It is a sensitive issue. So do you have any apprehensions of anything happening in regards to this?
I think right now, since the most important thing is that the tribal ho-hos, they are the governing system in the grassroots level of Nagaland, I would say. So if they have given the consensus and they have said they've given the green light for it, then I don't think that there will be any issue. It's just that personally, I feel that do we have capable women leaders right now? And if so, very well and good. I mean, that would be amazing. But the question also comes that since we have not been in the decision-making system for the longest time.
2 decades is a long
2
time.
decades is a long time. And for women especially to come up and step up. So I think that is the only thing that I would say personally. But,
you make an interesting point, because I have publicly stated my personal opinion about my stance on reservation. And it comes to the fact that 33% is not a small number. It's a big number. So we're not here to debate on whether it's right or wrong, but just to make sure that all goes well, because at the end of the day, I think our urban local bodies need elected members and needs to be governed in that system. So hopefully things go well there.
I hope so too. And coming back, that it's just not the state. Also, the Supreme Court was also,
Disappointed, right?
disappointed that the state is not having these ULBs with 33% women reservation. So I guess it should work out for the better of the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll leave it to debate about, about, like you said, about the merit. Do the deserving people come into the picture?
Right. And also the draft for the act, the municipal act, is probably just drafted, I would say finalized today, most probably, because they were supposed to have it just before the September 11th assembly session.
Right.
So it was supposed to be finalized. So I'm certain that it is done as we speak right now, the draft for the NMA.
I think that is key. Like the way the act is drafted will, eventually let us know if it's going to get through or, get opposed again, because the wording can be very tricky also.
Yes. So lastly, I just wanted to add also, in the draft, they have confirmed, the government has confirmed that they will not use words like tax and...
right, because though that was one of the... Exactly. So like I think key is the wording of the act and how it's presented.
Correct.
Yep. So that was the big story of the week. Obviously, it is a developing story, and we will look to find out more about it after the upcoming monsoon session of the Nagaland Legislative Assembly. We will conclude by leaving you with news that made the headlines in the past week, news that matter. Links to these full stories of the headlines that we provide will be in the description below. Along with my co-host, signing off, and thank you for tuning in. Stay informed and stay safe.